Welcome, 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 everybody. You're going to have to excuse me. I was at a life changing conference, TSP Game Plan, this past week. And this voice that you get, this kind of raspy, deep, and sexy, sassy thing, um, is kind of the culmination of that. But we're going to try to work through it. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. It's your girl, Leanne Dulce, self care strategist, and your host for Wake Up Happy Sis, the radio show and video show. If you're watching, if you're listening on Brownstone Worldwide and you want to watch, then make sure you head over to brownstoneworldwide.com/BWTV and you can check me out live. I want to see your comments. I want to be able to chat with you, answer some of your questions, and just vibe, right? But what's the topic of our show today? Today, I'm going to be talking about and celebrating Black women in the performing arts. As you know, February is coming up. It's Black History Month, but it's also February 2nd is also Black Women in Performing Arts Day. So, in preparation for that, I wanted to start the month off right. We're going to be talking about four different beautiful Black women in the performing arts. And then a little bit later, I'm going to have Paulette Clark, who you guys all know as the owner of Brownstone Worldwide. But some of you may not know that she also performed with Arrested Development, and it's her vocals you hear on some of the hottest tracks. Okay, so we're going to have her join us a little bit later. But today, let me start by saying you are listening to Wake Up Happy Sis on KCCR The Brownstone, a part of Brownstone Worldwide. I'm your host, Leanne Dulce, and I thank you for joining me here today. Now, let's just get right into it. I'm over here looking at my notes. You see, I got my glasses on, so I don't be all up in the screen like that because the girl is not blind, but we're we got a little couple of challenges, but it's okay because we work through them. And I'm still cute, so it's all good. So, as we all know, self care is a critical aspect of wellness that's essential for individuals, but it's especially essential for women that are in the performing arts. Okay. We all know, we've seen it. Like back in the day, I'm going to date myself, but the video Fame, where where she's saying you got to work for it. Okay. It's highly competitive, it's a highly demanding industry, and it requires a significant amount of their time, their energy, and commitment. Now, women in the performing arts, they're often under immense pressure because what they have to maintain a high level of performance at all time. They also have to juggle these demanding schedules, and all that is going to take what? A toll on their mental, a toll on their physical, a toll on their emotional health. It's hard having to go in and fight for your place, especially as a women performer of color, right? Now, self care is not only a way for them to maintain their well being, but it's also an important aspect of their creative process. Whether it's through exercise, meditation, or them simply taking time to relax, self care is going to be essential for helping them recharge, refresh their minds, and tap into their inner creativity. Now, when they take their physical, their mental, and their emotional health, women in the performing arts, baby, they are always performing at their best. Check my boo Beyonce, okay? Out there doing the damn thing at all times, okay? Look at all these beautiful black actresses, models, singers, dancers, right? And others in the performing arts that I haven't named. They're out there giving it their all, but that's because they have to be at their top mentally, physically, emotionally, right? When they do that, they leave it all on the stage for you. They make sure that they're giving you their best because they give themselves the best first. Now, one thing about self care, it's important to help them. kind of stop the facts of burnout. Now, I think we've all experienced burnout, and performers experience burnout too. Have you ever seen like when Erica Badu took a break, Lauryn Hill took a break, took time to build her family and focus on herself, right? Sometimes we experience burnout and we have to take time, regather ourselves, maybe take a step back from what we're doing. And that might impact us emotionally, financially, mentally. But it's important that we do that because we have to maintain a healthy work life balance. And you can't do that if you're not taking care of yourself. You can't do that if you're not in tune with your emotional and your mental needs, right? We're just going to continue to run that vicious cycle of, I really don't want to do this anymore. Starting to feel like you don't want to be at your job. And for a performer, that's kind of, I would think, that dual of, I love what I do, but in this moment, it isn't bringing me that joy, right? Or it's taking too much time away from my family. Now, self care also allows us to take a step back from these demanding careers, focus on our own personal well being. It allows us to manage our stress, to hopefully prevent burnout, but also to alert us when a change is needed, when something is wrong inside of us or with us, and a change is needed. But that allows them to stay healthy, happy, healed, and whole, both on and off the stage. And that's so important. And for women of color in this industry, it is super important because they don't just face the normal barriers, right? They face additional barriers and challenges such as discrimination and unequal representation, right? There's, oh, you're too dark for this role, this act, this whatever, you're too light, you're too big, you're too fat, you're too whatever, right? We all know that it's a lot of people typically vying for a few positions in the space of performing arts as a woman of color, as a Black woman, especially. But by practicing self care, they can protect their mental, their physical health, they can build resilience, they can set boundaries for what they will and will not accept. They can maintain their focus on achieving their goals and their aspirations. And then they show up fully. Look at my boo Viola Davis. She come in showing up and showing out and being herself. But she also had challenges with her mental and her emotional health because of things that she had been through, doubting herself that she wasn't beautiful, that she may not have been as talented as others because of things that happened in her past, right? As she was coming up, as she was entering the force. She is just as talented, if not more, than some of the iconic non Black actresses. Yet she's not given that level. Why? But how does she break through that? Be the damn diva that she is. Show up and show out because she's practicing self care, wellness. She's focusing on herself. So let's talk a little bit about in the performing arts, establishing some clear boundaries and kind of how um, performers, women, even Black women, everybody, but we're talking just about performers right now, how they can ensure that they prevent burnout and how they can maintain a healthy work life balance. But these are also for you too. One, we got to make sure we're establishing clear boundaries, right? And sometimes in performing our space, it's hard to do that, but they need to set clear boundaries between their work and their personal lives so that they can avoid working too hard and burning themselves out. And I know it's hard to do that because they have to hit while the iron is hot, right? But it's super important that they focus on themselves and setting those boundaries. Now, this might be that they're going to set some time aside in each day or in their week to focus solely on family, on personal activities or interests, right? But most of the time you see them, they're super dedicated to their craft. They're practicing hours and hours and hours. They're working sometimes on set 12, 15 hours or more. But they have to take time, moments throughout their day, to set that boundary of, hey, this is a little bit of reflection time that I need. This is a little bit of quiet time that I need. Second is they have to practice self care regularly. This is super important. It might be meditation. It might be spending time with loved ones or even spending time with other people that are on that are performing with them, right? That's going to help set that work life balance. Because yes, I'm working, but I need that separate time. I need to practice self care. They may go running, right? They may practice yoga, meditation. They may do other things, just being out in nature and grounding and putting their feet in the sand, in the soil. Those are ways that they're going to practice that on a regular basis to make sure that they are recharging themselves and replenishing their energy stores because they need it. They need to make time for relaxation. Now, women in the performing arts, they need to take time out for leisure, they need to take time out for relaxation, and they need to maintain that healthy work life balance. I'm going to keep saying that over and over. So, if this is an area you're looking to go into it understanding that it's a lot of hard work. It's demanding. It requires sacrifice and commitment, but also realize that it requires balance. It requires time for you to recenter, refocus, and recharge and re-energize yourself so that you don't burn out, so that you can be the best at your craft, and that you come in more creative, ready to focus and ready to take on that long ass day you got ahead of you. Now, they might be reading, again, spending time in nature. For me personally, sometimes I just like to sit in the quiet, no music, just so I can be and just clear my mind and try to meditate. And you can do it sitting up, you can do it laying down. It's just a way to quiet all the noise and all the things outside. And that can take as little as 10 minutes for you to feel refreshed and rejuvenated. They also need to work us on managing their stress. I've seen and I have friends who are performers, and stress is such a common challenge for them because you have to go in and constantly pitch yourself for performances. You're going up against people who may be younger than you, more experienced than you, maybe less, who may still get the role over you, right? The position over you. But managing stress is going to be key to them to prevent them from burning out and to keep their creative juices flowing. Now, they can do that by practicing one thing that I really love that I think everybody should do is mindful breathing. Those breathing, deep breathing, yoga, concentrated, focused things. Mindful breathing is like meditation and breathing, just centering ourselves, focusing on the breath. I use that for pain management sometimes and it works. Focus on breathing into the space where the pain or stress is and just imagining it melting it away. Now, they also, when they're managing stress, sometimes you got to get help, right? We can't do it ourselves. So we have to surround ourselves with people and resources that can support us. That might be a therapist, that might be your best friends, that might be a mentor, a counselor, whoever can come in and assist you with managing your stress and your health and your wellness. They need to prioritize sleep. I know people get so tired of hearing of, well, self care, sleep, sleep, sleep. But sleep is when your body re energizes itself. It is the best way for you to come in. Hey, Paulette. Hey, God,
Good morning.
let me
How
just
are you?
you hear my voice. It's still not there. Uh oh, where'd you go?
I'm
It's
here.
still not back.
I'm here. Me either. How you doing?
I'm great. I am so energized and I am uh, excited about this month, not just because it's Black History Month, but even though I am not a performer, I like to be in the background. I want this month for me is going to really be about highlighting all the beautiful and talented Black women
Yeah.
that are in the performing arts space, right? So that people get a shine on maybe some women they've not heard about. Now you're gonna hear about the big ones because I love to talk about them, but maybe some ones here and there that you're like, oh, who is that? Let me go and check this person out. So I'm super excited. And I'm glad you're here because I think some people may not even know the royalty that runs Brownstone Worldwide and
You a
KCC
mess. Don't
Brownstone.
do it. Don't do it.
Oh,
Don't do it.
what's gonna happen? I ain't
Right.
gonna do it yet. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it because I got one more tip. Then we gonna dive into your piece.
Okay.
But yeah, they need to know. The people need to know, and it's me. It's my duty to tell them.
Oh my.
You're going to
Okay.
be. You're going to be very humble and be like, "Oh yeah, me." But no, no, we don't do that here. We we hype our people up.
Okay.
You know, that's what we do. Um,
Okay.
and so the last tip is seeking support. And I talked about that a little bit already, is making sure you're surrounding yourself with people who can and will lift you up, right? And getting the help that you need when you need it. We're getting rid of that stigma that mental health is not an issue in the Black community, that we have to keep what happens in our house and keep it quiet, and that we can't be, as women, we cannot be broken. A lot of us are broken. When you're in the performing arts, baby, some of them have been broken physically, mentally, and emotionally and financially, right? Because of all the things that are heaped upon them, plus the fact that they've got children, families, they've got obligations. I was just reading this morning about Mariah Carey and her relationship with her brothers and sisters and her family, and how she had to cut them completely out of her life because her sister and brother just thought that she was the bank, the big bank of Mariah Carey, and
Mm.
actually had problems with her where they went on and blasted her for not paying their medical bills. Right, that part, like that was
Yeah.
her responsibility. And she talked about how when she was younger, her sister, she's the youngest of three, that her sister doped her up, abused her, and then tried to sell her to a pimp. Like, who would do that? So that now she has no connection with them. And I want to let me be the first to say this: blood doesn't always make you family.
Mm.
It doesn't mean that they have a right to stay in your life. So when I say seek support, sometimes that support is giving them what do you call it? When I say go with God, Crispy, that is their exit out of my life, and I don't go back.
Right.
Sometimes you have to remove those toxic people from our lives, even when they're the closest ones to you. I've had people in my life, in my family, steal my identity. Okay, people that are supposed to love you, that are supposed to look out for you. Sometimes they'll do you the dirtiest. So don't feel like you're obligated to keep them in your life because you're not. You're not, and not. So, um, you ready? Because you know where I'm going. You know where I'm going.
I'm ready. First of all, my apologies. I was in a meeting. It took a little bit longer than I thought, but I'm here. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, well, thank you. So
Yeah.
before we move on, let me let you know where we are and who we are. You
Okay.
are listening to Leanne Dulce, and this is Wake Up Happy Sis on KCCR The Brownstone. If you want to watch us live, head on over to Brownstone Worldwide /BWTV, and you can watch all of the shows, see us, see what we look like, see all this ball sexy I'm giving right here. See all Paulette. Look at that. Look at you see all this sexy right here, 1 and 2. Don't even play, y'all, because
Let
this
me
is what
stop.
okay. So why don't you give them a little introduction to yourself, Paulette.
What would you like for me to talk about?
You know what I want you to talk about.
Well, I
Who you
am,
are, and well, this who you are. We know
okay.
you own Brownstone Worldwide,
Yeah.
but I want you to start a little bit further back.
Well, yeah. So let me do my little intro
Yes.
first, and then I'll slide back that way. First of all, I am the owner and founder of Brownstone Worldwide, which houses brownstoneworldwide.com, KCCR The Brownstone, and also Brownstone Living Magazine. We also have Brownstone Marketplace as well. I'm just as hoarse as Leanne this morning. However, it was well worth
It
it.
was worth it.
um, we are the company that is changing the narrative on how we tell our stories our way. And one of the ways that we're doing that is with the podcast series like Leanne Dulce's, which is Wake Up Happy Sis, and also Girl Your Money Matters with the Nicole Johnson, Marshawn Olanio with Love Restore, Dr. Michelle Josie, who has Numbers Don't Lie. We also have Cullen's Corner, and we also have Tony Sanchez with Eye of the Storm on the weekends. We got the Sunday brunch. We have Ear Hustling Radio with DeCarlo Collins. We have all of these amazing shows, and more are coming. So I am excited about that. Now, how in the world did I end up in an industry like this? So let me go back just a little bit. I've always, always, always enjoyed anything dealing with media. It started when I was a little girl, and I would go in my mother's basement, and she had these encyclopedia type books that were bound, and inside of each one of them, when you opened them up, were copies of the Negro Digest. I don't even know if any of you all know what that is, but this was from the 50s and the 60s. And I was enamored with them. I would read each article, I would pore over them. And then she would buy other anthologies. They were cases of these books, and they were beautifully bound. And inside of them were Ebony magazine only.
Oh,
Yeah. And I realize now, but I didn't know then, the Negro Digest was Ebony magazine before it became Ebony. And my mother had those copies. And I would sit on the floor in our basement in Wisconsin, and I would read through each one of those pages. And I was enamored with the ads, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. Fast forward to high school. My first year in high school, I went to a college prep school when it became a thing. And a friend of mine and I, his name is Cullen, would do the morning announcements every single morning. We did it all throughout high school. Became the best of friends. My high school sweetheart was one of his best friends, all of that. And we remained in touch even through college. So I went to college and started out as a mass comm major because I really, really wanted to go into news and all of that. However,
oh,
I met a brother named Speech Thomas. He went to our rival high school. It was Rufus King High. I went to Riverside. He was a DJ. We called him Peachy. Speech is pretty light skinned. And he would go on the air every Saturday, and he would play hip hop music, and he would mix. So he was mixing early, early, early in his, 15, 16. And so he introduced, honestly, hip hop to our, we knew what it was, right? But he was doing this mix thing and all of that. And he's 2 years older than me, by the way. I didn't realize that until we were talking the other day. And he had been back and forth to Atlanta and had gotten a record deal with a company called Chrysalis Records, and he knew that I could sing. And he said, "Hey, I need some work done on a couple projects. Are you down?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." Ain't thinking nothing of it. I'm a new mom. I'm trying to get my degree because I promised my dad I was going to get my degree. And we went to the studio and we recorded 3 years, 5 months, and 2 days in the life of for Arrested Development. I did my part. Several songs I'm on. Mama's Always on Stage. Those are my vocals. Everyday People. Some of the other vocals for Children Play with Earth and other things that are on that album I was part of. I went on to tour with the group and hang out with them, do some really, really cool things. um, and created another group called Gumbo, which actually went gold before the group dissolved. And I think what happens over time is you grow, and dissolution is the next phase as you get to the next level in your life. And so I moved on with my life, you know. But along the way, I continued to sing, continue to perform because I thought that that was all I was capable of.
Mm.
So I put out an album and I was okay with it. It was supposed to be on Tommy Boy. Things kind of fell through. And I ended up putting it out myself independently with a couple of friends. And it's still available to this day. All the projects that I've ever been on are still available to this day. I had an opportunity to actually be a part of the Malcolm X movie, helping to perform the theme song for the movie, which is Revolution. And we goofed around, and one of the songs, so at the end of the song, Tari is calling out all of the ancestors, and they were like, "Well, Paulette, we need one more. We need one more." I was like, "Jane Pittman." Well, folks, Spike Lee lovingly tells speech later on, Jane Pittman doesn't exist. She was a fictional character. So it's still on the album. It's still on the song today. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I was like half asleep when you calling me in the hotel. We performed 2 shows the night before. And you're telling me, we need, what do you mean we didn't know enough history makers, right?
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But we were young. We were, 20,
Mhm.
21. We didn't know what we were doing. Well, anyway, so again, that's where I got my start. And really not my start. My start started with that little ding, ding, ding. Good morning, Riverside Tigers. This is Paulette. This is Cullen. And we're gonna give you your morning announcements, blah, blah, blah. So that's where it started.
Or
Uh,
did you think that just starting those announcements, just doing those, that you would actually become a part of hip hop history?
no, I know. Matter of fact, I I had no idea. Um, at that time in my life, I think as a young woman, a young mother, suffering postpartum depression, I had no idea half the time what was going on. I'm just keeping it real
Mm-hmm.
because I think one of the things that we don't teach ourselves is how to embrace moments and to savor
Yeah.
them. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
that is so important too.
Yeah. And that's how I missed so much. Not to say that I didn't embrace the experiences that I was going through at that time, but I was so caught up in motherhood and I wasn't there because I was on tour. She couldn't go with us, you know, and that strained our relationship as she got older, because she thought I didn't want her. And so you see what I mean? So all of these, and so we had to mend that, because I was, like I said, I was on tour and I was sending money home to take care of her, but it's sometimes it's just not enough. It's never enough. And so I
But the
think
kid sees it differently.
they see
Right?
it
They
differently.
see it differently. You see
Yeah,
that so often where they're like, "Why didn't you want me?" And
right.
you're like, "Of course I wanted you, but I had to make money
I had
to
to do
be
what I
able
had to
to."
do. I had to do what I had to do. And I had an amazing family that helped. She actually went and stayed with my brother and sister in Arkansas while I was on tour. And then, her dad supported all while I was in the industry. And I've worked with other people, we've done other projects, DJ Taz and so forth, and other people. I don't know if y'all remember him, but that's right. That's right. I'm so hoarse. Well, anyway, so I had no idea, Leanne, that I was a part. I was making history. I didn't know. I didn't.
And I think most times history makers don't know
Mm-mm.
they're making history. They're just doing
Yeah.
what they love or what they're called to do or whatever. And a lot of times they're so wrapped up, like you said, I'm wrapped up. I got to do this next show. I got to do this next thing, right? Looking back now,
Yeah.
from where you are now, right? Because I know self care and wellness is a major part of who you are and being spiritually grounded. What
Yeah.
would you tell young Paulette,
Hmm.
being in that industry, and like you said, not being able to be present with your child in her formative times because you had to work? What would you tell young Paulette now?
Well, I've thought about this often. Two things, a couple things I would tell her, but the first one is, and this sounds really crazy. Number one, watch your back. Everybody
Mm,
has a friend. Um, that was important back then, and I think I learned that too late. Um, Another thing is handle your business. Don't let nobody else do it for you.
yes.
Because I thought, because I was so young and I was so trusting, a lot of things that could have been prevented were not, because I did not have the support system I needed until it was too late.
Mhm.
I should have had legal representation. I should have had, public relations. Some of the things that I should have had in place, I didn't. Because when you're young and you're hungry and you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth, honey, you're trying to get it. And in that, there were people that were trying to help me get it and take it from me. And they
Yeah.
got it.
And you don't know what you don't know.
I didn't know, but I didn't know. But the lessons were learned. And the last thing that I would tell her is put you first.
Yes. You speaking my language now. You know that. You know that's my message right there. I agree because so often, especially when you're that young and you're that naive, think about New Edition and how a lot of performers back then really got um, a lot of their wealth, a lot of their livelihood stolen from them because they didn't know. And the
Mhm.
people that are supposed to be looking out for you and you
Yep.
think are on your side
Yep.
are actually plotting against you,
Oh,
like plotting for your demise. Like, I really thought this person was my friend
hmm,
and was looking out for me. And all the while, they're jealous of you because they can't be you, or they don't have the talent, or they don't have the presence, whatever in
yeah,
their minds that they bring up. You're just out there being you.
yeah,
And your light
yeah.
didn't dim theirs any, but in their mind it did.
It
That's a
did.
them problem.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And
Mm,
that was something else that I experienced too on the road. Me being so, not starstruck, but I was just having so much fun and enjoy. I was being myself, you know. Um, and one of the things that I learned that I should have done early was I should have continued to be myself, because people were, I'm not going to say intimidated, but they thought I was dimming their light, like you said. They made it known that they didn't want me around. Certain artists and stuff like that, they were like, oh no, we don't want her. It wasn't that I was a bad person. It was because I was walking in my gift. And when I realized that my gift was causing people to try to poke holes in me personally, I shied away from my gift and I got in the box that they put in front of me. And I got in it and I stayed in it for years. Um, because sadly I wanted people to like me. I'm just gonna put it out there,
yeah.
you know. And so while I was living the life of trying to be liked in that box, my life was passing me by.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And that happens because we all, even people who say, I don't care what nobody think about me, blah blah blah.
you do.
Everybody wants to be liked.
Yeah,
Everybody wants to have people that they really connect and bond with, that
absolutely.
show them love, that they can show love to. Everybody wants to be like nobody. I mean, unless you're really a hermit and you don't like people. And I know some people that are like that.
Yeah,
They don't like anybody. But that to me is that little child, that little scared child, that
yep.
little hurt child in there that says, let me get them before they get me
Mm,
because I'm really scared. I do want to be liked, but I'm going to show the world that I don't. Right.
right,
So, of course, we do things that are not always in our best interest
yeah,
because we want to be liked. Right. But I'm glad that you broke out of that box
right.
and realized that that wasn't the only thing you were gifted to do and bring to this world.
Yep.
Because We all have a calling. And sometimes we get stuck in thinking our calling is this one little thing.
Right.
When I was heavy in the publishing industry, and I had Natural Roots magazine, which by the way was the first natural hair care and lifestyle magazine, the oldest, the largest
Come on, say it, man.
lifestyle magazine. When I had that, I didn't always know. I had some backstabbers,
Mm,
but I didn't let that stop my shine. That wasn't my calling, was to run that magazine. My
right.
calling was to give a voice to a subset of people. And it changes. Sometimes your calling changes too.
Yeah.
My calling back then was to give voice to the natural hair community because we had none.
Right. Right. Right.
My voice now, my calling now is to help Black women heal, is to help us be happy, healed, and whole, to help us live our best lives without fear, without shame, without guilt. Help
Right.
us realize that it's okay to put yourself first,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
That's what Nicole Brown of Izzy and Liv said at the conference. You
Mm-hmm.
got on the show about doing the show, but that's what she said. If I could go back, I would put myself first
Yep.
because we're so used to putting ourselves last. We're
I
so
agree.
used to doing what we got to do to get by.
Yeah.
Right? That means putting our job, putting our boss, putting our husband. Don't have kids and a husband because we supposed to put everybody ahead of us.
Yes.
But we're stopping that
Yeah.
narrative.
Yep. I agree.
We're stopping that narrative. You put yourself first because when you're happy, healed, and whole, and you love yourself abundantly, it's going to radiate and everybody's going to
Yeah.
benefit. And hey, Linnell, I see you down there on Facebook. We're going to talk to her because she is into social activism and community support. And I definitely want to
Love
expand
it.
on what we started earlier on because
Mhm.
we have to be the change we want to see in our community.
Absolutely.
Like you said, we have to tell our stories our way.
Yeah.
And it starts right here. And you know what? Time's up.
Is it already 10:30? I'm so sorry.
Yes, it is. Time is up. But before we go, I just want to highlight my one person that you guys, some of you guys may know. My one pivotal Black woman is Misty Copeland. And you know,
Mm.
she is the first African American female principal dancer in American Ballet Theater.
Yes.
Said first Black principal dancer.
That
Okay.
part.
She appeared as a guest performer on several television shows, including Ellen DeGeneres and Good Morning America. She is the author of two books, Life in Motion and Unlikely Ballerina, and Ballerina Body, Dancing and Eating Your Way to a Leaner, Stronger, and More Graceful You. So you see, she's putting it out there. She's putting
Mhm.
health care, wellness, self-care into it. And one of the things that she's spoken about is taking care of your body in order to perform at your best.
Yeah.
But that's not just on stage, it's on and off stage.
Mhm.
And she's
Mhm.
talked about the challenges of maintaining a healthy lifestyle while being a ballerina and having that demanding performance schedule. So, again, performers, they know they have to include self care and wellness into their lives so they can always be at their best.
Yeah.
So, any final words that you'd like to say, Paulette, before we get on out of here?
Well, yeah. So you can go ahead and check us out on brownstoneworldwide.com. Also at kccrthebrownstone.com. You can check us out there. And we also have an app that goes along with that. You can check us out later on today because I believe Dr. Dina, um, is it today? Is it tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow. But Dr. Dina is going to be joining us tomorrow for her lunch and learn. We're going to learn how to shift our lives to better days. We also have tonight, Girl Your Money Matters with Nicole Johnson. And then after her, we also have at 8 p.m. Love Restore with Marshawn Olanio. That is a part of the family as well. The final thing that I want to say is, Leanne, you are doing fabulous. I love your on the wall behind you there with your apron on. That's absolutely adorable. But I appreciate you having me on the show today. I apologize once again for popping in late. I was deep in a conversation that needed to be had to build us and grow us to the next level. So again, I just say this is so needed. So I thank you for sharing this with our community and helping us to tell this part of our story. Is we have to put ourselves first.
We have to. And oh, by the way, make sure you go to brownstoneworldwide.com and get yourself a subscription to Brownstone Living Magazine because we have a magazine too. So get the magazine. It's monthly. Go
Yeah.
and get the subscription. Get your whole life because
Oh,
it's whole life because it's filled with amazing content.
yeah.
And then if you have a business, head on over and check out some of the advertising specials because you need to be here. We need to know about your business. The world needs to know about your business. It's time for us to stop standing in the background of our own lives and get out of our way and get our message out to the world. We're
Absolutely.
not serving anybody by thinking small. But that man say, think big.
Think
And
big. Think big.
think big.
Okay.
That's what we're doing. So I want to thank y'all for sharing your time with me. Again, I'm your girl, Leanne Those, self-care strategist and your chief self-love officer. This has been Wake Up Happy, sis, on KCCR The Brownstone. And if you missed it today, it's going to be
Check out
replayed.
the replay. There
Check
you
out
go.
that replay. It's running every morning, 10 a.m., Monday through Friday. And I'll
Amen.
see you next week. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye.
All right.